Welcome to our examinations guidance at Deer Park. Our aim at Deer Park is to ensure the exams process is as smooth as possible, which can sometimes be a pressured time. This is to ensure all students are prepared for their exams by the end of Year 11 and will be confident going into their GCSEs. All exams in Year 9 and 10 are our Deer Park practice exams, and the Year 11 GCSE exams will be sat at the end of Year 11. Today's session is looking through all the routines and procedures that both us and the students will need to follow to ensure they have a successful exam series. This is the iceberg illusion and how students can achieve success. Underneath the iceberg, there are lots of different things that can go on. Some students are really relaxed about them, and other students are struggling with the pressure. We find it is an individual journey for all students to be successful. This process may not be easy, but is about giving them the skills they need to succeed. The words underneath the iceberg are sometimes all of the things that students need to experience to become successful, and that top of the iceberg. If they don't do as well in these exams, then they have their next set of exams to improve upon, and it's about the learning process. This is Austin's butterfly. As you can see from the diagram, it shares a student project from a school in America to illuminate the power of critique and multiple drafts, as well as feedback given to students. This is a scientific drawing of a butterfly. Following on from feedback and guidance, as you can see, by the time they got to the sixth picture, you can see the progress and the improvements that it's made. This is what we're looking for in the students, for them to be this end butterfly by the time they get to the end of Year 11 and they are prepared for these exams and confident going into it. These are all the things that we do in school to ensure the students are fully prepared for these exams. All students have already had an exams assembly with me going through most of this PowerPoint. With the different year groups, we use a graduated approach. All year groups will be supported with exam tutor sessions, revision timetables, and revision methods. In Year 9, this is just about the students getting used to the process of completing exams in the hall to ensure they are used to the process. Subject teachers will provide subject content to be covered and encourage them to revise, but the real emphasis for Year 9 is the process of sitting these formal exams. For Year 10, this is the second time students have gone through this process, so they will receive further support on revision and are expected to spend more time planning and completing independent study at home. In order to support you at home with this, we'll be sending out a Year 10 Prepare to Perform newsletter with all the specific details of the exams, how the students can revise, and how you can support them with this at home. In Year 9, students will sit their core and humanities exams in the sports hall. Year 10s will be sitting all of their exams under these formal conditions. All students will receive a personalised exam timetable, which will be sent to you, which will also include their seat number and any access arrangements they may require. If a student is absent on the day, a catch-up session will be organised for the student to complete their paper at a later date. The examining bodies in the JCQ are in charge of all public examinations in the UK. They are really clear on the guidance on how we do these things and the procedures that we need to follow. All of the information in the guidance isn't prescribed by us, but it's actually given to us by the JCQ for all schools. If we do not follow the procedures, then the students or us as a centre could be seen as malpractice. If we break any rules or procedures and the exam boards classify this as malpractice, then the consequences of this can range from a warning, loss of marks, a paper not being marked, or worst case scenario, being disqualified from all exams from that exam board. We have to report malpractice during the GCSE exams in Year 11, so we practice these rules now to ensure students are fully equipped. There are a number of unauthorised items as well from the JCQ, so your support and ensuring the students do not bring these to the exams will be paramount. Our exams officer at Deer Park is Mrs. Clark. If you have any questions or queries regarding the logistics of the exams, these can be forwarded to her. Subject-specific questions will need to be sent to subject teachers or heads of department. Equipment that's required within the exams is subject specific, and this will come out in your guidance booklet. There are a few things that are appropriate for all exams. The first thing is a black pen. This is really important because when students sit their real exams, the exam papers themselves are actually scanned into a computer and sent to the examiners. If the students don't use black ink, then it can be difficult for the examiners to read, and therefore the students may not be awarded the marks that they should be. Students are not allowed to bring their usual pencil cases into the exam hall. These pencil cases must be either transparent or students can use a clear plastic bag. We do not expect students to pay or purchase new pencil cases. So if they wish to take their equipment in held in their hands, then that is absolutely fine. Any exams that require a calculator must not have the case in them. The case must be taken off and popped in their bag before they enter the exam hall. Smartwatches, mobile phones, and also earphones must be switched off and placed in their bags. They cannot be on a person in the exam hall. Water bottles. Students are allowed to bring water into the exam, but again, this must be in a clear bottle that is transparent and must not have any labels on. So what happens before the exams? We ask all students to try and go to the toilet before the exams. Students will be able to go to the toilet in an emergency. However, we do not recommend it. Students will be accompanied to the toilet and they will not be given any additional time in their exams for the time that they spent in the toilet. We recommend that all students arrive at the sports hall at least 10 minutes before their exam. They will be required to put their belongings in the community room, and they must be in silence before the exam and when entering the exam hall. This is to ensure no students are at risk of malpractice and can hear any information that is being given. I've already mentioned about the drinks and the water bottles being taken into the exams, and also the mobile phones, watches and earphones. If a student is late, we obviously recommend that a student is there in enough time. However, we appreciate that sometimes mornings or afternoons don't necessarily go to plan. If a student is late, please ensure that they do come into school and we will get them started on their exam as soon as they are in. Here's a picture of our sports hall, and here you can see where the students will line up for their exam to the right side of the sports hall. This will be in between the sports hall and the tennis courts, going up towards the school. The areas that you can see that are red are where silence will be required by all students. During the exam, the students will sit down. They are required to check their exam paper and ensure the exam paper is the one that they expect. Invigilators will be running the exam as teaching staff are not allowed to enter the exam hall. A notice to candidates will be read out with instructions to all students. Toilet breaks again have already been discussed, and if students have any equipment breakages, they must put their hand up. An invigilator will replace their piece of equipment so they are not at a disadvantage. The most important part here is students are not allowed to communicate with any other student. This includes verbal and also non-verbal communication, such as hand gestures, smiling and turning around. Any form of communication will be classed as malpractice. Additionally, students are not allowed to doodle on their hands or exam papers, as well as not being permitted to write any profanities within their papers. After the exams, students must remain in silence. They will be asked to put their pens down, close their answer booklets, and stay in silence. They will be asked to hand any handouts back to the invigilator and leave borrowed equipment on the desk. Students must remain in silence until they have vacated and moved away from the sports hall. This is really important as there will be students still in exam conditions who have extra time. How can I help my child? Reassure them that all they can do is try their best. Remember that practice makes perfect, which is why we repeat these exams in year 9, in year 10, and at the beginning of year 11. For some of them, this won't be their first experience, but please try and help them plan their time efficiently. And for revision, remember not too little, but not too much, and that's a personal thing for each individual. Try to ensure they're getting enough sleep, eating healthy, and keeping active. Taking breaks will also help with this. If you are concerned or need any help or guidance, please do not hesitate to contact the school. It could be your child's tutor, their head of year, or myself, Mrs. Dixon. Thank you very much for listening.